Don't tell me you don't know what it is when you're a Stephen King film reviewer. A kid's having a gangbang in the sewer. When your Skarsgård turns out to be a large Marge type whose face can change position, always fishing for missing kids. Man, motherfuck this whole damn town. Every day, every day, every day. Every day I fight the clown. Chapter 1. Henry and Bill don't get along. Chapter 2. I think Ben fell in love with you. Beverly said stand by me in the middle of chapter 3, but it was up to its old tricks in chapters 4, 5, and 6. Yeah, I'm so sick of this it prick, guys. Every day, it's every fucking day with Pennywise. Do you know that? Do you know the Elvis Costello song?
I knew. I immediately clocked Elvis Costello.
Okay, damn.
It's such
every
a
day
dream.
I write the book.
This job is a dream.
It's a great job.
I just sat here and vibed with it.
Hope.
It's just a great. You're such a weird guy. I love you so much.
That, you know what sparked that? I love you too, brother. Stand By Me is already in the lyrics and chapter 1. And that's what I latched on to.
Of the Costello.
Every day I write the book. One of his bigger hits. Every day I write the book.
Yeah, the pitter patter in between the verses sound very familiar.
Yeah.
I'm sure I've heard it. I'm just not a Elvis head. Either Elvis.
But let's pump it up. You devils in disguise for another cock.
That's right, Kings of King.
Your hosts, Abe Epperson and Michael Swaim.
That's right.
And we compare episodes of Stephen King to episodes of...
So here's the deal. We decided it would be it. We've covered the 1990 version of it. With Tim Curry, the TV movie. But guess what? One of the highest rated, but definitely the highest grossing film of Stephen King's adaptation film works happens to be this one, 2017's It, with the Skarsgård.
So we thought we'd finally get around to it. It, the TV series with Tim Curry, who we both dearly love, of course, as you're supposed to and have to. Scored surprisingly low. I think more as an artifact of, wow, TV was really that constricting. I forgot almost in a fundamental way that it was made for TV in the 90s. Therefore, it's gonna be tame. Like Tim Curry can knock it out of the park. That doesn't make it not a made-for-TV 90s movie.
100%.
So this is truly, as you know, it says in the trivia or whatever, the first film adaptation, and it's an R-rated film adaptation of a book that is surely R. If not, as we'll get into, there was a time they were considering making this NC-17. Never including the gangbang, but for other reasons, which I'll talk about. Because I did a little bit of research, but yeah, let's dive in and talk about it.
I looked into it too.
Yeah.
This is definitely like the definitive It, right?
So far. Is it. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure King casts a long shadow. We'll make it 3 or 4 more times before the story's forgotten, probably. If not, after we're dead, I bet there's a new It franchise at some point.
Yeah, that's right. That's true. Just remake until we're dead.
27 years later.
Us twisting in our grave. If there's some way in which you could harness that power of the twisting. I forget where that joke's from. Okay. Let's do the first thing. That was when
Stan Winston died. It's an animatronics joke.
Oh, nice.
Stan Winston must be rolling over in his grave that he designed to roll him over in his grave after he dies.
Creating the first world's perpetual motion machine.
That's right.
All right. Under the dome.
Our best guess puts the dome at 20,000 feet, sir.
Did he just call it a dome?
You think we might be stuck in here a while?
This is the elevator synopsis in the movie.
I mean, long elevator ride, more than an elevator's ride.
It's more than the elevator ride for sure. I wrote it down with pretty good efficiency, and I was pretty detailed. So I feel like I can start us off.
Great.
I'm very proud of my work here. So yeah, we get the classic scene opener where Bill makes paper sailboat for Georgie, his little brother, and we get a spooky little hors d'oeuvre where Georgie goes into the basement and thinks he sees eyes in the darkness, which it does become important later. At the time, I forgot it was. So when I saw it, I was like, you're just doing spookies for spooky's sake, because we watched that horror movie on Monday night movie nights that we have. And I was like really pissed at horror movies for a bit, but no, it actually has.
Oh, you mean the fake out, the false positives horror movies always do,
because
where they're just like, hey, there's something scary. Nah, it's just a thing. Yeah.
It's just glass orbs catching light. We watched The Rain Fall in Derry, Maine. Of course, it's Stephen King. It's it. Georgie slams his face into a security barrier and eats shit, which I thought was a nice little
wild
addition.
That he didn't see that coming. Such bad peripheral on this kid.
Georgie's excited about this sailboat. We track the boat all the way down the storm drain where we meet Pennywise, who bites Georgie's arm off and drags him into the sewer.
Great.
Notably, as I think the film does pretty well throughout, a woman who lived nearby and was watching Georgie for a second missed the crucial event, rendering herself useless to the small boy. Flash forward to about a year later, and we get a small scene where Mike, whose family is in the business of sheep murder, he refuses to slaughter a lamb. Nicely done, Stephen. His stepdad talks about how the world is broken up into predators and prey, and you got to be a killer. Bill, Richie, Eddie, and Stanley, aka the Losers Club, are getting bullied by classic generic King bullies. I would say these are probably his paramount next to Stand By Me. True psychopath in this one. We see Beverly for the first time, Bev.
Yeah, destined to escalate off the charts into a full-on mass, like multiple murderer who's possessed by the devil. So yes, the ultimate bully in that sense. But he starts as just like this kid in school
generic
you want to avoid because he will fuck with you at all costs. Yeah.
Beverly, her deal is that she's smoking in the bathroom stall, and she's getting bullied as well by a few girls, being called a slut essentially by the other girls, and they pour wet trash on her.
Wet trash, because it rained outside,
It's pretty fucked up. We learn that the boys are nerds, but also that you get that strong buddy vibe that makes King so iconic. Bill pieces together that his brother's body could have washed up out of the sewer at a place nearby, like marsh, called the Barrens, and he wants the group to go search it. Bowers, who's our like main bully, has a gang of cool guys who burp and laugh like hyenas. And he licks his hand and he touches Bill's face, who has a stutter.
It's surround sound bully shot. Maybe the ultimate, like you say, there's some of the ultimate King bullies. They form the template that make the other ones seem derivative. It's of this.
Right.
And also this shot, I love, just pays homage to that. It's a shot. It's a short oneer that pans to the guy like threatening him and calling him a gay wad or something, pans across, and before you can see what's going on, you hear a belch, and then it reveals some other bully belching in his ear. It's like, dang, just bully surround sound.
It might as well be that guy who's like, you don't have power.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, give me a fucking break, you guys. They just want to go home.
Know how you look, right? In fact, one of my favorite parts is that he's like, yeah, you suck, and I'm doing my bully thing. And then there's like a little lull in the conversation, and he just goes, also, you have a dead brother.
Also,
like it's an afterthought.
No, but what's great about that, we should get back on track, is he goes, and I'm not going to go easy on you this summer, dude. You've had it easy because your brother died. So now you have to pay for the fact that your brother died. Make that make sense. Your brother died, pussy. I'm going to wail on you so hard for that.
Yeah, it's open season now, motherfucker. You don't have that brother protection.
Yeah, your little brother protecting you. Also, while I've paused you, but then you please take the reins away, want to point out that Ben crushes on Beverly. In this moment, we see
hard.
That. Yeah.
Bill tries to tell his dad about the Barrens, but he's so grief-struck, which I kind of like this portrayal of the dad. Yeah. That he's just over it. He's just like, Georgie's dead. Stop this. You need to stop your obsession. So he takes down all of his schematics and detective shit. Meanwhile,
so he's like, if your mom sees this model of the sewers with a corpse floating in it, how traumatizing is that? Like, yeah.
And he's got a point, even though, as we know,
Georgie is alive. Right.
Well, no, Georgie's way dead.
but I guess, but he should be doing this, I guess.
He should be doing this.
Right. Georgie's gone.
They're both
gone.
right.
They're both right. Yeah.
You got me again. Meanwhile, Ben delivering the lamb that his stepdad killed at some point. Oh no, yeah, that's Mike. Sorry, my bad. I want to talk about
Ben in the book. Yeah.
Yeah, Ben is No, you're right. Mike is delivering the lamb, and he sees some haunted shit behind a door. Clearly, Pennywise is. I like that it's behind all that the drapes, the clear drapes that some storage areas have. Yeah, where it's like you can't make it out, but it's clearly Pennywise killing Georgie. Like that's what he chose to replay, which I thought was cool. Because I stopped it and replayed it a few times, and you can see his raincoat. Also, at some point, there was a fire where people were locked behind a door. More about that later. Pennywise is basically replaying his greatest hits. I love this because he starts off the haunt where he's like, I'm coming for you. I'm going to get you. He's just getting his beak wet.
Yeah, you basically hallucinate whatever your biggest fear is. That's how it starts, right? So
right. We get a short scene with Stanley, who's the son of a rabbi.
Starts for him.
Is also haunted by the painting in his dad's office.
If you've read the book, it's always creeped him out. He's always hated that painting, but today it blinked.
Came alive. Yeah. We learned that Eddie is a little sick boy, a lot of pills, got the allergies.
Sad little fat boy.
Richie is the rude dude who's played by Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things, and he's got a potty mouth. We find out that Ben is completely in love with Bev, as you mentioned, and he's making little postcards for her. And man, 1989 hits hard.
Writing poems.
Yeah. Anyway, he's in the library and he finds that in 1908, 88 children died in an Easter explosion. Is Pennywise a white supremacist? What do you think?
Hates. Maybe he's like Willie, because I just researched this for my Simpsons episode. Maybe he's an old pagan who hates the religion, or Easter, because it's after the pagan god Eastre. It's like he's an old believing Presbyterian is what I'm getting.
Pagan Easter. Yeah.
Doesn't
Good
acknowledge
job,
Easter.
Christianity.
Fun fact, so I don't have to say it later though. It almost seems it seems disrespectful. Like imagine it was a concentration camp or something. Those are real photos of of Civil War and after battles of dead bodies and chopped up bodies and shit on the battlefield.
And they
photoshopped in Easter eggs to make it be an Easter massacre. And I'm like, man, as you're sitting there photoshopping Civil War bodies with Easter eggs, are you like, is this okay? Should I be doing this? Yeah.
Is this you're like, it's fine. It's Creative Commons.
Yeah,
it's like,
totally.
No. That's not what I mean.
That's not what I'm asking. Yeah.
A haunted balloon telepathically brings Ben to a hot egg because it was Easter and there was a fire, and then another one and another one.
All right. It's funny when you describe it that way. So she's like, how am I going to scare this kid? I know an historically accurate trail of hot eggs.
hey, it's not a bad strat. It's a little Hansel and Gretel.
Yeah, it's a little
It's
ET.
like breadcrumbs for like beefy boys.
Right.
Maybe I don't want candy. Maybe I just want to
Maybe
bulk
I want
up.
history information and protein.
But he becomes friends with a headless boy. Just kidding. Headless boy chases him into the basement. But then he goes away, like most haunts. They just kind of disappear. Outside, Ben gets bullied because he runs out screaming, and the bullies see him. And an old couple, and this is Bowers again. It's always one bully. There's just one bully, really.
Well, he has an entourage, but yes,
but I mean,
for the film
always
especially, it's focused on him.
I get the feeling that these other guys would not be up to heinous shit. They would just be like at home playing video games and not bullying anyone if it weren't for Bowers.
You go into their minds more in the book and stuff, and they, of course, because it's like 1,000 pages, they have more stuff going on. But it's all it's all about Rich. What's his name? Not Richie. Henry Bowers. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Bowers gang.
The Bowers gang.
Carving an H in his tummy, which is the moment that you're like, oh, geez, that's beyond most Stephen King
that's
bullies.
Permanent. Yeah.
That's 0 to 100 pretty quick. Yeah.
I like the touch in this scene where the old couple, again, mirroring kind of the first scene where the woman misses Georgie being killed. There's just an old couple in a Cadillac just drives on by.
Because the whole town's fucked up. Although the cat sees Georgie die, by the way, which some have said maybe a Cat's Eye reference.
Ooh,
because that's not from the book. That they're
the other
like, the
things we
cat
know-
can tell Georgie died. God.
We know that Pennywise has this like psionic or telepathic kind of influence on
He's
both
a
children,
hypnotist,
but
yeah.
like everyone. So it's interesting because I think
town is
that
cursed.
Yeah, we'll talk about, does King think that parents are just negligent, or is this Pennywise's like kind of purview where he kind of just controls the town and they never saw a bullying happen? Anyway,
They chase him to the river.
Ben does a sick wheelie kick and falls down into the Barrows. Meanwhile, the loser club finds the main stewage drain pipe, and they find some galoshes, and they're like, maybe it's Georgie's. It's not. It's some Betty or something like that. And in strange childlike logic, Bill is like justifies that like maybe Betty's still down here, because anything you find in a sewage pipe means that it's like urgent.
And I know they're all
like,
14 or whatever, but yeah, his logic is like, so without weapons or a plan, let's go right now.
We gotta go
down and deep into the sewers. I'm like, fucking right now, go to your treehouse and make a plan, dude.
Well, I think they're obviously doing the character
Fill up
thing
some
where
super
Bill,
soakers with holy water. He's like, that's my brother, dude. I have to go. Yeah.
he's got a savior complex because he feels like he is to blame.
He should have
for
been
his
watching
death.
Georgie.
Right. Just then, Ben rolls around in the sewage after getting cut with the H in his chest. He's just like, and the bully's hot on his trail. Yeah. And the one who likes fire goes deep into the
he's
pipe.
fascinated with fire, which they did little allusions to, but in the book, it's more fleshed out. Yeah.
Fire starter. And he hallucinates some zombies, and Pennywise eats his face. The losers go to the pharmacy to get some med supplies, and Bev is there buying tampons, and we get this cool little shot where Bev is about to walk through an aisle to go purchase the tampons, but she sees her bully, and so she goes whoop, and she keeps going down the next aisle, and that's where the losers club is. So it's like, in order to avoid the thing that I hate and just want to be me, I am led to the losers club, to the next step in the story. It's kind of
misfits find each other because where the fuck else can they be? They're just on the outside.
We collect. In other words, consolidation of people of power is a positive thing.
As I'll say later, we win when we stay together.
Exactly. Anyway, she uses some problematic sex eyes at the
is it Christopher
pervert.
Reeve? The clerk? Who's the clerk?
No, Christopher Reeve is dead.
Not Superman? All right.
But no, they talk about Superman. You look like Clark Kent. You look like slime. And but uses that time to knock over a thing so that the gang can shoplift.
Do you remember the issue where Lois Lane kept a big secret?
Yeah. They start causing.
It does. I mean, it is giving off that vibes, but it's trying to not push it too far.
Right. I mean, it is 89. It's Stephen King.
Well, you get the feeling that the town is sick in that way from her dad, of course, later too. Yeah.
Only noticed with subtitles on. Bev returns home, and as she tiptoes in, there's a children program that has a lady saying stuff like, the sewers are a fun place to play, and you can be silly as a clown down there. I never noticed that.
And later there's an adult show I heard, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I do think they're supporting the idea that Pennywise makes the town curse the parents into a state of hypnotic negligence, because there's like a news droning in the background that goes like, and sending your kids to the sewers is a recommended thing to do. Like he's controlling their TV input, apparently.
Yeah, because the concept here is you don't see it, you see it, the kids, as we find out later. I'm sure the book tells a little bit more in detail about specifically how much that is blinding the adults versus hypnotizing the kids and making them see in a Freddy Krueger way.
Kids can see through it, yeah.
Do they see through it, or is that the spell? Who knows?
Oh, or are they more susceptible to the brainwashing? Right, and that's why they do
Either way, it doesn't matter because it's a cosmic entity.
Does that mean you're safe from it once you're an adult? Like it can't fool you and eat you?
That's the question.
Could Pennywise
but I don't
bite
think so.
An adult's arm off with its physical teeth? I don't know.
I think that will be more for chapter 2.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, her dad is the worst. He smells her, clear sexual abuse.
He's got obvious child molester face.
Yeah,
which has got to feel good when you're cast for that. And they're like, sorry, dude, you look like you might molest your daughter. You got the part.
Well, I mean, yeah. And I like this scene a lot because she does a great job, and it's a pretty amazing story of abuse about how she sequesters herself in the bathroom and cuts her hair because he touched her hair and now it's ruined. You know what I mean?
And she blames her. She's like, it's your fault. You know, the complex feelings of she hates puberty because it's making her sexually attractive to her father, and a part of her blames herself, which of course is unfair, but is what she's going through. Yeah,
exactly. And we cut to teens having fun at the old waterhole scene, another King's kind of staple. Everyone likes Bev. Ben informs them that this town historically is just fucked for kids. Eddie walks by a town famous decrepit house, and he's accosted gently by a zombie / leper. And he sees Pennywise in the backyard, still building up that fear to eat. Bev gets Ben's postcard. Also, Bill likes her, as we saw in the waterhole scene.
I just love how gentle the very first leper scare, because his thing that we didn't mention is you get little hints that his mom is obviously Munchausen by proxy. She controls his behavior and keeps him close to her by always saying he's sick, even when he's not, if you're unfamiliar with that term. And so his greatest fear is like germs and stuff. So his recurring vision is like a sick bubonic plague, Civil War type leper. But I love that the very first time they meet, the guy's just like, it's the equivalent of like, hey man, like if I was like a zombie, is that okay? And he's like, oh God.
Yeah.
Like, he just approaches
he's
him.
like, I'm overwhelmed. The kid does a great job
Is
too.
it all right if I'm here? No.
So Ben's postcard makes Bev smile, and she reads it in her bathroom, with a place where the water drains away. More on that later. Though this time she hears Georgie in the pipes.
That's how Barton Fink gets in.
Don't say Barton Fink's name at a drain 3 times, or you'll be haunted by John Turturro. She takes a tape measure and puts it down the pipe, and out comes hair and a triple carry amount of blood.
A shining's worth.
A shining's
an elevator load.
Yeah. Her dad comes in and can't see the bloody room. He's like, what's all this? This is fine. It tells her, also, you look like a boy. I don't like that. Water drops from the ceiling onto Bill's drawings. When Georgie's bedroom's light turns on, he follows a little boy in a raincoat to his basement full of water. You'll float too. You'll float too. And then Pennywise runs at him, actually fairly slowly, I would add. Like he shakes his body while he runs. And
where are we? In the basement now?
In the basement now.
Yeah, I'll tell you, more than his running, which does get me in later shots, I think the violence of pushing Georgie forward down into the water again is the scariest moment of that scene, actually. That's like a good horror gag, yeah.
Because, coming at you
just
is like a
fuck
horror.
This kid, choke him on water. It's like, oh, geez.
Yeah, that's a little bit more like, the run. Also, we're desensitized to the running at camera thing. It's still a function. It works. It's still scary. Sudden movements are scary. But I just don't know if I believe in that strat. Like he's supposed to be a master predator.
That's like the bread and butter strat in the last 15 years is the monster just runs a camera. Sure. You can not be blamed for being numb to it. I will say this movie it does it later, but people will know the shot because it became mimetic. They did a cool, I think, in the studio concept, which is, I think it would be scary if we let the camera shake the shit out of the camera and then use CG to stabilize his face. So it's like, from your point of view, he's staring at you creepily combined with running at you at the same time. And it does create a weird effect that I think really works. Like, I like CG when it's used in an innovative way that makes a new sensation hit my brain.
Alone is a classic shot.
Totally.
But yeah, I guess I was just saying, I think that Pennywise's top speed is much higher than this.
But in this one, he's hampered by the water. He's like, I'll get over there. I'm in the water. Yeah. I'm coming at you.
We're not Pennywise apologists. I just feel like he could have got that kid. After a surprising amount of time, the kids tell each other that they've all been seeing wild shit. And they all go to Bev's bathroom and they're like, yeah, it's full of blood, but adults can't see it. They clean it up. Which is, what you do with your friends.
Have you seen the Fairly Odd Parents? It's those rules, but this is not the Fairly Odd Parents.
The cleaning of the blood, that begs some questions as to the physical manifestations of Pennywise. Like, does the blood have weight?
What would the trash bag look and feel like to an adult? So many questions. Right.
Yeah. Would it just be water?
But the symbolism really hangs together, which of course is that she hates puberty, which is the time that blood starts flowing out of your drain and you get hair in places you didn't want it. So her fear is blood
out of your drain.
Good. I think that's good. I like that imagery.
It's a well done written story.
You're saying my
phrasing
was blunt.
Your phrasing was hot.
But I'll just say the first time I watched this, and it's because I hadn't read the book probably since high school, I just scanned that as random haunt imagery. And I'm very gratified to be like, no, of course it isn't. Those are the key indicators of puberty.
just like
that's
Carrie.
what she's scared of. It all hangs together very well, actually.
This is King's bag with teenage girls. This is like the one statement he makes.
He's like, you know the difference between men and women? Periods. And I think they're scared of it. I think they fear it deep down.
I think they fear.
That's what I really think.
Yeah. Bill and Bev have a moment about poetry and the fact that she's only kissed a single boy. And Ben watches on. He's sad, but he's pretty chill about it. Like Ben could have been shitty about it, and he wasn't. And then they're on bikes, of course, because that's Stephen King. And they find the bully's car next to another bike, and they're like, that's Mike's bike. They're beating Mike right now. And Bev is like, we got to go help that, stop that. Mike also, while his ass is getting beat by the Bowers gang, can see Pennywise. So that means he's being haunted as well. And the loser clubs throw some rocks at the bullies to save Mike. And they literally yell rock war, and there's like 60 seconds of continuous head trauma.
It's almost like the end of that Spaced episode where they diffuse the situation with the bad guys by fake shooting each other. But this would cause serious injury.
No, it honestly feels, really rewatching brutal. It, the first time I was like, that's surreal. Funny. This time it's like, feels like the Zoolander gasoline freak accident.
I was
actually had another Skarsgård.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just not say it later since you're saying it now. I think it's more appropriate. But in our section called It, I was going to say, I think that's a real flat note where you're like, no, it is effectively funny to suddenly break the horror and have that antisocial song play or whatever the band was called.
Anthrax,
But it weakens it. I think it was a misstep. It's weird.
It's weird that it's in there.
Anyway. It's not weird that they throw rocks at the bullies and make them flee. It's weird that the director was like, I know how I'll handle this. The charming kid will yell food fight essentially and will play metal music like it's a fun thing that they're doing a rock war. And it's
maintain
not a fun thing. Yeah.
That kind of shit, honestly, in 2017, did that not have a disclaimer? Do not fight.
Throw rocks at your friends. Yeah.
Like I thought we got past that. I mean, we outlawed cigarettes on TV. Finn Blowhard tells Bowers to blow his dad. That's how we end that scene. Good 80s fun. Ben reveals that he thinks these murders.
Dick dillweed. It's Stephen King swearing, you know.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Try to eat a treasure. Butt, turd head.
It's an Americana treasure chest. I love it. Ben thinks that he's like, by the way, I think these murders happen every 27 years. And there's a big death party at the end of that. And they all reveal that they think the visions are tailored to each of them. You know, Eddie, who's the hypochondriac, sees lepers. Stan fears his father a little bit, and he hates that office painting. That's what came alive. Mike sees burn victims. They also realize that the old well house was where Derry started building their sewage system, and that's over the years. You remember all this?
Did we mention that the reason behind Mike's vision? Mike, I don't think so. Is an orphan. He shares with them because his parents died in a fire. Hence that being his vision, right?
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Pennywise would be like casting.
Yeah, I mean, it's the rule.
Trauma.
They're like, okay, got it. It feeds on fear, and it is a shape-shifting illusionist. We understand it now.
Because so many times do we have in horror movies dumb characters for the sake of being dumb.
They're like, these I cracked it. This is what it is. Yeah. It lives here. Yeah. Well, what are its weaknesses?
This is what it is. I bet if we go there.
I made a spreadsheet.
Yeah. So they start learning about this, and they have a projector that's kind of showing all the stuff, and it gets haunted. And this scene's cool, and it starts showing Bill's family photos with Georgie involved, and a kind of Photoshop starts happening where Pennywise invades his mother's face and invades the photo set, and it starts playing like a movie, jumping faster and faster until it culminates to them knocking it on the floor, and then it starts strobing kind of erratically, in which at one point Pennywise bursts out of
And he's to
canvas.
scale, movie frame scale, so he's giant instantly because he's emerging from the frame. I think it's a genuine improvement on The Ring, the big scare from The Ring. I'm like, it's an iteration that it clearly owes something to that, but it is a genuine twist on
also,
it. Also, really
the
works.
trick of the strobes of it's turning off on, so you get that darkness right before he's right there because you just see him out. He's gone from frame
now. Yeah.
Anyway, they close I guess it's Pennywise again is scared of light or something because like they open the garage door and he's like,
well, that's what works about it almost in a cop-out way with this monster, right? Is you actually can always comfort yourself with any plot hole by going, I guess they're still being ripened fear-wise. Like, I guess they're not fearful enough.
They're not
yet.
Fearful. Yeah.
Like Pennywise decides when he's milked you enough, right? That's his call.
Right. He knows when he's done cooking the steak. Bill becomes adamant, though, at this point. We got to go to the old well, which is below that decrepit house that we saw earlier on Niebolt Street. In the house, Richie finds a wanted poster of himself. He's kind of the only one who hasn't had a vision yet, by the way, because we'll talk about why.
It's that he's a fearless kid, kind of? Or
we'll talk about it. Okay. They also find Betty, the owner of the dead shoe girl, who's pulled into the bathroom. And is it King just be like women be bathroom? The losers,
girls be shitting, dude. They act like they don't, bro, but they do, dude.
But they're always in the bathroom.
Did you see me in Night Riders, bro?
yeah. The hoagie man.
They call me the hoagie man, girl.
They call me the hoagie.
I'll take you to the bathroom.
And I love this thing with like this old Victorian house that has a lot of doors and a lot of small rooms because the losers get separated and they're like sequestered in little tiny boxes in prisons, which is how Pennywise attacks.
Well, I do love. Oh, also, sorry, I forgot the twist, but it is a fun reveal because they're like, "Well, Richie, what is your greatest fear?" And he goes, "Clowns." And you're like, that's a good, right?
Yeah,
that's a great moment.
Yeah.
So then Pennywise shoves him into a room and shows him like hundreds of different scary clowns. Yeah.
He's like, fuck. But I'm still the rude boy.
But not him, just other clowns. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're separated. Eddie gets attacked by his leper, passes out. Pennywise comes at him from a fridge. Richie sees a doll of himself in a coffin.
Oh, no. Yeah. Germ Boy sees himself vomiting germs and shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Want a loogie.
And Bill and Richie finally find some doors. Scary, very scary, not scary at all. So they go for the third one. And Pennywise goes, yes, tasty, tasty fear. But the gang opens the doors just in time before it is going to eat Eddie. And they kind of interrupt him. And while he's turned and distracted, Bev runs up with a poker or a lead pipe, slams him through the head, stabs him through the head. And we see
it's one of the fence posts from outside.
I think you're right. And while that's happening and he's like freaking out, Bill kind of sees the well in the basement and they all run out while they have a chance because Eddie's arm is totally broken. But his hypochondriac mother rushes him away, blaming the kids and also telling Bev she's a slut.
From her vantage.
They're
just
true.
Like, hey, we took your son to the sewer, his arm's shattered. We're sorry. There's magic involved.
The group is split on whether to continue. Bill seems disillusioned.
All is lost. Hey, maybe we hate each other. Maybe we should split up.
Right, all is lost. Yeah, there's a fight between him and Richie. Bev's on Bill's side. All is lost. Point montage of. So for a month, all the kids have disbanded. The Losers Club is no longer a thing, and Bowers is shooting at cats. And
the cat that saw Georgie get eaten. I don't know what that means, but
I think it's Cat's Eye, baby. Yeah. I think it's just when they show cars, sometimes it's Christine.
They probably just shot those two sequences simultaneously.
Same cat might as well. Makes sense. But his cop father is like, I don't like what you're doing. Give me my gun. And then he shoots at the ground. So we're like, oh, okay.
Oh, that's why he's that way. Okay.
He says this line too. He says, nothing like a little fear to make a paper man crumble. And we see the kind of abuse system that Bowers himself is in and how he was fostered into a psychopath just as much as he probably was naturally one, or more so, probably. Bowers sees the balloon in his mailbox and it's the knife he lost after cutting up Ben. And I like the way in which they unravel that too. Cause when he's cutting up Ben and he loses the knife. He says, my dad's gonna fucking lose it. That's his knife.
Right.
And we never see like him getting beat, you know, or like there's no.
But
like,
we know from the way he is,
some
and that he
films would do
said
this.
he probably did get his ass beat.
You know
in
that
between.
caused some, you know, he got his ass beat because he
Right.
lost the knife. So Pennywise is like, hey, how about a little knife?
How about a little Monica in your knife?
How about a little Mambo number 5, baby? Yeah, and
Premeditated
a little push
Mambo
from the
number
TV
5.
program, and he is straight on killing his dad in his chair.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Eddie is bullied by a girl who rates loser on his cast, so everyone's being bullied because they're separate.
Meanwhile, it is recruiting Henry. Yeah.
Although some people are strong, some people are naturally survivors, like Bev, who, while alone and in her all is lost, fights against her father, does accidentally kill him. His head slams on the
Kicks
bathroom
him into the
floor.
corner of something. Yeah.
Again, the bathroom.
Yeah.
Pennywise appears after she knocks him out, and we're like, uh-oh. Bill, who's, I guess, going to have a play date with her, finds the body of the father, along with a note in blood, you die if you try, meaning I have Bev.
A line from the book and TV series that they were forced for timing reasons to gloss over, so they wanted to throw it in. But it's a line from the book that a lot of people remember.
Yeah, it rhymes. That's
I mean,
key.
it's literally just Pennywise trying to say, no, don't
Taunt
come in
you.
the sewer and kill me, please.
Don't come.
yeah, I'll fuck you up.
Bill rallies the team to go look for her. Eddie finds out that his mother has been lying to him about making him think
What
that
are
he's
these?
sick.
These are gazebos.
These
You've
are
been feeding
gazebos
me
because-
gazebos. Yeah.
Which all it took was one like bully girl to say like, you know, they're all placebos, right?
Yeah.
You're taking nothing. And he believes her. And but even though it's totally right, it's just funny that it had like, that's all it took for
probably had
Eddie
some
to figure
denial
it out.
going on in his head then.
True.
Or yeah, I don't know. Just as
He's
someone
probably
with a
just sick
partner
of it.
who's been in a cult and then that where the cult did tell them stuff where you're like, well, that's just ridiculous. And it's like, right, when you're a kid, you'll believe anything. And then it's a blurry line where you reach an age where you go, wait a minute, that's ridiculous.
Something clicks it. Of course they're gazebos. Yeah. So he rebels and leaves. The club returns to the house with weapons this time. Stan is reluctant, being the
like one of them
reluctant
brought
guy.
a fence post. He's like, that worked last time. I'm bringing that. The fence post spike.
Yeah, they have two of them. Bill speeches him into, you know, like, we're going to save it though. And Bev wakes up in Pennywise's lair, which I love Pennywise's lair, the cistern, because at the center, there's a tower of bodies, floating bodies above
In
it.
anti-gravity, they all float.
They all float, and like a shrine of kids that he's built. And he's got a circus car, and he does a little dance for Bev.
And the
And she
cocoon,
says,
you know, spider cocoon idea is there. Like he's storing them or who knows what.
Yeah. It's animal. She says, I'm not afraid of you. And he sniffs hers and verifies it. I like that in that performance. He's like, yeah, that's about right. And then he opens his mouth and he's like, but you will be scared. And he shows her the deadlights, which are 3 little lights that exist inside him and is a cosmic connection to something else, a different dimension, as the
But
book kinda
functionally, the
outlines.
horror rule is that anyone who's looking at it is straight up in a trance. Like you cannot, you have to physically get them away from Pennywise or they will never come out of that
And their eyes
trance.
milk over.
They just like
And-
float in space staring.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The losers rappel down the well. Bowers
Pretty cool.
arrives
It's
after
our
killing
time
his
down
father.
here. Mott's speech, of course.
And Mike is the one who's like holding everyone, allowing them to propel down the rope. And Bowers just pushes Mike away and he just removes the rope because he's a psychopath. And a fight ensues in which Bowers takes his stepdad, who has his stepdad's, Mike
has his stepdad's sheep killing
stepdad's
gun. Yeah.
sheep gun.
I think it's his grandpa.
But it gets dropped in the fight. Of course, Bowers picks it up, like cocks it, and he's about to put down Mike. And Mike just like, you know, kicks him in the groin kind of thing, pushes Bowers down the well. And that's it for Bowers. Stan, who's again...
For Nowers.
For Nowers. Stan, who has been poised as the reluctant one, gets separated from the group. And the woman from the painting bites his face. And he freaks out. And Bill doesn't care because he sees Georgie while
Bites
Stan
his
is freaking
face
out.
up, but not out,
But
if you know
not
what
out.
I mean. Like,
Yeah.
When you see that she's latched on, I thought, oh, does he die in the book? Or like, that looks like a kill shot. But luckily, she had a lamprey mouth. So it's just like his face is covered with small, shallow wounds.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, really,
Good job.
fear is.
I guess he's not fiery enough. Yeah, he needs more
Yeah.
fear. Fear is their money.
All right. Bill follows Georgie while Stan freaks out, leading him again to the cistern. Bev is floating, eyes white from the deadlights. Also, he knows that Bill has kind of lost his stutter throughout. Like, there's a big stutter in like his big line, but
Right.
like throughout this sequence, I didn't realize that he hadn't stuttered like for 30 minutes in the film.
Because he's losing his fear, dog.
And brings Bev down to the ground. Ben kisses her, hoping that she's like a frog and like she'll. Turns out it works.
She drank the Willy Wonka soda. He's trying to balance that out.
They share a moment about poetry. Pennywise.
It works. Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Pennywise disguised as an armless Georgie, but then makes his flaw speech, which I like, which is Georgie calls both she and her, doesn't say it. And immediately Bill clocks this.
And of course, I like that the discrepancy is literally around the word it. It's
yeah,
cute.
exactly.
Yeah. But it also made me wonder, is it, or I just reflecting on that, do we call ships, like, is that the tradition? Because we think of them as like a big womb full of little guys.
No, that's right.
That is?
I'd
okay,
say
that's weird. They're like semen. Semen are like semen. Okay.
Oh, wow. From the sea. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff we're going to definitely
I'm just
need
like,
to
why are
unpack.
boats girls? But this is not the pod for that. They fight.
Because
He turns into a mummy briefly, which I know Abe enjoyed very much.
I was hard as a rock.
Especially because in the book, he does Wolfman and Dracula and all of those. But in this one, the only one they kept was Mummy.
I like that. I like that he's Rolodex and he's like, that's not scary enough. How about this?
How about the rapist dad does that?
Yep.
And she's like, no, that one's not going to do it. I hate him. I already killed that guy.
Yeah. And anyway, Pennywise erupts out of Georgie's body and he's hurt for a moment in their belief in that it's going to work.
Yeah.
He gains the strength and we have kind of a brawl. Pennywise tries to make a deal with them to sacrifice Bill. And he's like, I'll leave the rest of you alone. Just give me this one. And he's lying.
Well, because if he broke them mentally, then he could pick them off.
Right. But Bill's like, take the deal. I don't give a shit.
Right.
Like, it's save yourself. And Richie does a little speech.
That very thing makes me give this speech, which inspires everyone to be brave. And that kills it. And
we're going to have to kill this fucking clown.
So let's kill this fucking clown. And
everyone gets
jams
a bat.
him jams a thing in his throat. Yeah.
Stomp. 6 kids stomp this motherfucker
like
with the collective belief.
Yeah, the Grindhouse, where it's just like,
right.
all right, let's get our
Death
jollies
proof.
on this motherfucker. Death proof. Yeah. And
I love that one of them just has a big ass chain.
yeah. And Pennywise, of course, says, all I wanted was a little fear. And then disappears down a tunnel.
A second well.
Well deeper into the sewers, but for the purposes of this movie, dead. But of course, we all know even from the marketing campaign and everything. So I just want to say the way that I interpret this, which I think is true of the book, but my memories are very hazy, is that it's more of like a judicious retreat where it is ensorceling them even in that moment, where it's like, I'll just let them envision that they beat me. Then they'll move away and become adults and forget about my existence, and I'll eat at some other kids. Like, fuck this.
Right.
But then, of course, they take steps to not forget him, and that's part 2.
Very fun scene. Anyway, the floating kids come down. Bill mourns.
It is dispelled for now, regardless.
Yeah, over Georgie's raincoat, which the group kind of consoles him. Epilogue. A month later, Bev is talking about the deadlights in a field, hints at seeing older versions of themselves back in the cistern, and they swear that if ever comes back in 27 years, they'll come back and fight it, and they sign their deed in blood. I don't know if you've ever done a blood oath.
No, I have done the spit handshake, but the blood oath, I think, is supposed to stand in for the sewer orgy, which we should, and we'll explain. I can explain what I mean by that.
Anyway, the last bit is Bev's moving to her aunt's. Bill and Bev kiss.
Her dad's dead.
She touches his face with her blood hand, which is a questionable move, though I like the boldness. And that's the end of it.
It's hot like The Descent was hot. And then at the end of the credits, you hear a clownish laugh to indicate that James Bond will return in Skyfall.
Probably overly detailed, but I think there's a lot to unpack. This is a great story.
It was great. Yeah, everyone loves it. Everyone, or not, I mean, not universally, but people can, it's widely regarded as a very good adaptation. One of King's favorites. He said, I was not prepared for it to be that good after first seeing it, although he always sucks the day. Like, he's a big team player.
Yeah,
he supports whoever's. He's like, hey, look, if you're making my movie, I'm going to support you.
Which I admire.
But
the capitalist endeavor of that.
You can tell when he really means it. because he'll say stuff like, no, really, like that really was good. And he said that about this one or something along those lines. So let's get into the behind the scenes trivia, factoids, and anything about the world surrounding the making or production of the film in Skeleton Crew.
Something in the mist! Shut the doors! Shut the doors!
The only things I really want to cover, there's just an immense amount of lore and trivia around this because it's one of King's most beloved books, and this is a great adaptation of it. So the only real narrative I want to give that I thought was like fascinating, you know, I guess I judge it based on if I was listening to a pod, I'd want to know that originally there was an NC-17 version by Kerry Joji Fukunaga, who's the True Detective guy, is what he's most famous for. And again, if you're familiar with the book, there is someone online was very clear, not an orgy, but a gangbang, because it's a bunch of dudes having sex at one woman.
That's
it's
true.
a gangbang.
That's true.
There's an underage gangbang in the sewers in the book. And the reason they do that is, look, if you're on cocaine and you're writing this epic thing that's as dark as you want it to be, it makes sense. Like, they need to do something that will seal them all as a group together that represents, as a writer, this is what King is thinking, you can tell, that represents breaching into adulthood. There's also a theme of everyone's weakness becomes their strength. It's even bigger in the book. The fat kid uses his weight to save them at one point and things like that. So if you follow my stupid math that King is doing in the book, Bev's weakness is she's scared of sex. And of course she is, because it's always been a negative experience. So King felt it was important that they share a positive sexual experience, and that bridges them through into adulthood. And that's why the Losers Club can still fuck with it as adults. So it all, quote unquote, makes sense, but it would also make sense it also makes sense when people go, well, I wouldn't have put that in. Think of something else. That's creepy.
Because now you're the teenage sex guy.
Because now you're vividly describing a sewer gangbang with underage kids as a positive thing. Anyway, my whole takeaway, because I don't want to spend the whole episode on that, was that is not why I was NC-17. Even Kerry Joji Fukunaga, who was like, I want to make an it that's as viscerally as upsetting as the book was when I read it, which means it has to be NC-17. I'm still not going to put in the sewer orgy, but they were going to have just much more upsetting violence and implied sexual violence, to the point that the studio was like, no, dude, it's going to be R, okay? And he dropped. So there's 3 writing credits. One is Kerry Joji, but he did the rough draft, which I guess doesn't bear a ton of resemblance to what's still in there.
That makes sense.
And the other crew I wanted to point out is the cinematographer Chung Hoon Chung, who is the Old Boy guys, Park Chan-wook's primary cinematographer.
A lot of laterals.
And the main way you can feel that is like, I don't know how to say it beyond, unpacking a bunch of tiny little, the history of how these techniques developed. But there are horror movies that feel PG-13 and like, oh, it's going to be jump scares. It's going to be Halloween Horror Nights level of scary. And then there are horror movies. Longlegs had this. This is I think, a vibe that people like, where you're like, oh, this pulls no punches. It is almost shot in a way that feels bleak, desperate. Plot armor will not protect the animals and children. And this feels that way. And it feels that way because it's the Old Boy guy. He knows how to make a scary, dangerous world. Who also shot Last Night in Soho, a movie I found underwhelming, but was shot great. And also shot Heretic, a horror movie where the guys like choose between these doors with misleading things painted on them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the cinematography and direction. Actually, I had this realization when I was watching. I was like, this kind of feels like a Wes Anderson film. I know that makes no sense, but like if you were to take out a lot of the stuff that makes Wes Anderson, like the color palette and all that stuff and like the walls, but just the idea of like the lighting kind of being directional, but the camera's lateral, and then everything's flat space in terms of like they're against a wall or something like that. And so all you have to look at is what's kind of center punched or kind of like a pillar in the composition. It's actually the closest that I've seen where you go like, oh my God, it kind of feels like a Wes Anderson movie. If like Wes Anderson was like, I'm no longer Wes Anderson, but I want to make a real horror film.
Edgelord Wes Anderson. Interesting.
Yeah, but anyway, I just had that thought. If you watch it and think that that might be fun. I don't know. Cool. Ben Mendelsohn, Will Poitier, Hugo Weaving, all planned to be Pennywise until Skarsgård.
I love what they said about Weaving. They said Pennywise needed to do the scene at the beginning where he also seems like a clown that could feasibly lure a smaller child like Georgie in. And they were like, Hugo Weaving could only play over the top, creepy, get this clown away from me. He couldn't do charming clowning.
He couldn't do charming
a likable clown like that. Of course not.
Come down here, Georgie.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
But Bill Skarsgård famously on set, or at least the stories that emerged, were super nice, super great to work with. Kids loved him, very safe, and then can just turn it on and be creepy as hell, you know? Total pro.
He's like, we'll talk about how obviously Curry's a legend, and he might be the better Pennywise. I don't know. It depends on your personal taste with the Pennywise.
Like physical, it's almost a different challenge.
He brought it in such a way that I was like, this is totally acceptable, if not better, if this is the way you want to go with it.
That's what the thing is. I'm of an age where it feels almost blasphemous to say better than the Tim Curry performance, but I do secretly think, wow, that's just as good, if not better. But then I tell myself things like, well, let's see Tim Curry. By the way, they did approach Tim Curry. Would you want to reprise it? And I'm like, I actually would have loved to see at least a test of what that is. Because you know what if Tim Curry had been allowed to go R and got modern CG? I think he could probably
had more
go
beats.
toe to toe. But there are some notable things about Skarsgård that do make it feel like it's a role he was born to play. So we're happy
he was
found
drooling.
it. Which was like, the drooling is from the prosthetics, and the director, of course, smartly was like, no, leave it. Because he was like, oh no, I keep drooling. Should we constantly touch that up? No, Pennywise drools all the time. That's great. Do it.
Right.
And then the other choice was he asked, which I'm like, I know so few people can do this. Apparently, or if they made this up to sell the movie, the legend of the movie. But the story goes that Andy Muschietti, the director, said, can you do that thing where you cross your eyes but outwise and the eyes go in the opposite direction outwise? And Bill goes, yeah, I can do that, and just did it. And it's like,
the lazy eye.
What's the odds he could do that? That's not an effect. Yeah.
It's now a classic. Like, it's one of the things that
they
when I
sweeten
go,
it
that's
in
the
some
creepiest
shots,
thing.
but yeah.
Yeah, he also had the smile all planned out because he was like, he did it in front of his
smile
brothers.
He used to do growing up to scare his brothers. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a great interview on YouTube where he talks about a lot of this stuff. 5 hours of clown makeup, though by the end of production, MUA got it down to 2.
Not bad.
They're the fucking silent heroes, I'll tell you that. The live action 16-foot tall set was built for the cistern for the floating children. 16 feet, think of that. You're building 16 feet of dead kids. Then the effects company came in and like digitally enhanced, obviously, the floating.
And notably, the reason they did that is the initial draft of the shooting script ended with Bill fighting Pennywise one-on-one on top of the Tower of Kids. So it was going to be more practically involved, and Pennywise would be like tossing kids' bodies around and shit, and they'd be shifting under them while they fight. And then they decided, but the whole point is they're stronger together, so they have to do the thing where they beat him all together, so it has to take place on the ground. And the effects guys were like, that'll be better for us anyway, and whatever production reasons led them to change their minds. But at first, that's why they're like, I have to have the dead kid pile. That's where the final fight is going to be. Now it's just around it.
Oh shit, I had the note. Not all shots of Pennywise's face where his like face opens up to a CG. That's just something Bill Skarsgård can also do.
Where his teeth come out. Yeah, and he's a lamprey. Yeah.
This is the weirdest trivia one because it's clear we looked at the same IMDb trivia page, just scanned it. And there's a weird one that it makes no relevance. I would never want to talk about it, but
its definition of which is to closely read, but no one uses it that way.
That's true. You're correct about that. This weird trivia. It returns to Derry every 27 years in the book. The film came out 27 years after the 1990 TV movie. Jonathan Brandis, who played Bill in the first one, died at 27.
Wow.
And a bunch of older young actors are played by older actors who just happen to be 27 years older. The sum of the release dates of both films, if you take their digits, are 27. Why would they do that? Like, what is going
I don't
on?
know. Yeah, I don't know. There's
Some of
also,
it's
the
intentional, some is
27
just
Club,
random.
the idea
Yeah,
that
and the
so many
27 Club
famous
is about
people
dead.
committed suicide at age 27. Yeah.
It's just
Or
bizarre.
died tragically at 27. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe I'm starting to become a conspiracy theorist through this movie, but I just thought that was like too weird to not say.
Sure.
Anyway, that's all I got for this one.
Oh, the only other trivia I thought was interesting was there's a scene in the book. The Eddie Corcoran death is famous. A lot of people think it's the scariest death in the book, and they just never even tried because they didn't think they could pull it off. But Pennywise like turns into a sea monster, and they didn't. Andy Muschietti, director trademark, use of slime and vomit. Andy Muschietti has included a slimy creature vomiting on one of his main characters in 3 of his films.
I'm the slime guy.
Yeah, I'm the slime guy. All right, so that seems like we're scraping the bottle of the slime bucket, meaning it's time to move into what now? It. How could I forget? It.
Bill, if you'll come with me, you'll float too. You'll float too. You'll float
Like, I kind of want to go through fast some of the stuff that we've already talked about in the other It episode, because obviously this is story-based
The
symbolism and
space
stuff
turtle
like that.
and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Tack.
waters and sewers, like evil is a drain pipe, as we talked about. Like water matters because, like, not only is it everywhere, rain, sewers, Pennywise is wet as fuck. There's a lot more blood in this one, so there's a lot more blood, and like that was something that the 1990 version didn't get to play as much around with. Even Pennywise is constantly seen as wet, like, but also just the idea of like going low. The concept of like, why is it the sewers? Why is Pennywise that's his home? Because what it's trying to build narratively with this bully thing, right? Where's how do bullies operate? What is the concept of dividing and conquering? Bev basically spells it out for us at one point. Pennywise only appears to the kids when we're alone, and when they're threatening him, they come as a group. The projector scene is a perfect example of that. When Pennywise feels threatened, that's when he'll appear to the group. But otherwise, he likes to isolate. And that's kind of how bullies work, right? They always pick on one person, and it's all about bringing you down. So that's why we get a lot of basements, a lot of sewers in this film. Pennywise always invites people downward.
And to stay. Like, I think another part of it is, I think King is trying to say that part of what turns, I'm saying on the non-supernatural level, metaphorically, part of what turns someone from a kid with all the hope or like, good intention in the world into a child molester or a parent who does Munchausen by proxy or a bitter old person who looks the other way, is fear. Right. And that, right. And that's why those people never left that town. They're too scared. And that plays right into Pennywise's plan. So it's like we've discussed before, and this is why it is one of his masterpieces. He is tackling also the great literary American novel. Like, he has simple things to say, but things to say just about life. Like, fear is what sours you. You can't let fear make you too afraid to explore the world, and you can't let trauma prevent you from connecting with people, because that's what will turn you into an adult worth knowing and not a bitter old dairy
bully.
Evil or bully, or even worse, bully. But yeah.
It's the main weapons of bullies that are to mentally abuse you. It's about you becoming downtrodden. That's how bullying works.
I mean, Derry
right?
started as a beaver trapping camp. Still is, right, boys?
Right, boys? I wrote that one down too because
maybe the only good King-esque joke in it.
Apparently,
Richie
Finn
sucks. Oh, improvised a bunch of his jokes.
He did a bunch of those improv. It's fucking killing it, dude.
Best feeling ever. Try tickling your pickle for the first time. Not a good line, for example.
That's a Kingism if I've ever heard one. And obviously, on the reverse of that, the power of thought and mantra is something that I think we get more with this version.
We called it Thontra.
Because we have the thing where Bill's obviously trying to appease his stutter, or get rid of it. So he says this thing, which is actually a thing that, you do in like theater, miss the mist and fiercest frost with stoutest boast and barest wrist. She thrusts her fist against the post and still insists she sees the ghost. Several times through the movie, they changed it to he thrusts his fist against the post. That's his mantra in order to get over his stutter at the very end, and still insists he sees the ghost, which is obviously an allusion to Pennywise.
Well, it does exist, yeah.
Which is which is I like how the gang operates here. The power of affirmation. I see the ghost. The mantra to give a process to heal. This is my thing. This is the thing I say, brings me back. It brings me focus. And so I can be the strongest version of myself. The idea of repetition and grouping as a form of power gathering. That's how they beat the monster. We also mentioned that like Richie is the loudmouth one, the Finn guy. And he's the one who kind of puts up a front and seems the most self-assured, even if we know it's all kind of lies. Like he talks about his big dick all the time. He's feigning confidence. But at the same time, he is the last one to see Pennywise. I think that's interesting.
Who is?
Richie.
Oh, the last one to be
he didn't
able
get
to
haunted
see him.
before.
Right, yeah.
Because I think he's so self-assured.
You don't mean the last to see Pennywise alive, right?
No. Just like he
last
gets
to lock
haunted.
in, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's because he's so
cocky.
confident.
He is cocky, right. That's supposed. He lacks the most fear.
Yeah, he wants the ones without self-esteem. Bill himself, even though he has a stutter, that mantra, his attempt to, and Bev's attempt to, like fight against her dad, like that makes them leaders because they have like an inner strength that comes from like a specific place, but it's all magnified, obviously by grouping, which I thought the movie did a great job with.
Yeah. May I?
Yep.
I'm trying to ask more because it's because, by the way, listeners, if you noticed, I've been more interrupty lately. It's because since my baby was born, I'm sleep deprived. And for me, whatever you call it, I have been diagnosed with ADD. Other doctors don't think I have ADD, but you know what I mean? The tireder I am, it takes effort to not interrupt. So it has this effect where the clamp is gone because I'm sleep deprived. So apologies if I'm interrupting too much. I am working on it. But
no, I mean, I noticed, but I also knew the backstory there. So I think you're fine, brother. I try to edit it out as much as I can.
I totally get, though, someone commented and I'm like, I agree with you. Or if I listen to a podcast and someone interrupts a lot, it does make them seem like rude, self-centered, like, yeah, let the other people talk to you, So I get the feeling and I'm trying and blah, blah, blah.
You are doing great.
So I don't need validation on it either. And it's not my job to educate you on the complexities of it. I'm just going to say now that the 27 years underground thing also, of course, is a nesting spider cicada kind of imagery, which harkens to another movie that I don't think would exist without the king over, which is Lucas. That always stuck with me. Because Lucas, I talk about it a lot. It's a movie that made me feel real weird when I was in puberty. And it's the unusual, in terms of movies we normally present, story of a kid who falls in love with the hot girl in high school. They do become good friends. She friend zones him. She ends up with the big man on campus who does suit her better and is a nice guy. And Lucas, our main guy, just has to understand that it doesn't make him a bad person and his time will come. And that's why they use cicada imagery, right? When it takes 17 years, but then it finally happens. Like, it's a movie about some people are late bloomers. Don't freak out. Like, you'll be okay. And that girl didn't owe you the sex prize just because you're super nice to her. She owed you a reciprocal friendship, like blah, blah, blah. So to me, Lucas is a special movie because it comes from such a conscientious place and being so old. And I think this movie has that. And King probably inspired Lucas, or like Stand By Me probably inspired Lucas. But that scene where Ben crushes on Beverly and they have that shot, I'm just like, these guys get it. Puppy love. That shot where she's signing his yearbook and over it, you see his eyes looking at her. And what clicked for me, and it felt like a profound realization or way to phrase it that never clicked before, so I'm thankful for this viewing of this movie for unlocking it, is that kind of impossible crush that you have at that age. I think a lot of us think of it as stupid or even unhealthy because it becomes, especially if it's the cis man at a woman, there's like not a threat, hopefully not a threat, but you know what I mean? Like there's all these complexities, but I think a way I can say what is pure about it, and I am nostalgic about it, is that kind of crush Ben has on her is more a discovery of your own capacity to love things then it is actually a reflection of the quality of that person. Does that make sense? Like the first girl you crush on is you discovering what it feels like to be in love mechanically. Yeah. And I think they really capture that. But then to counterbalance that, I think it's really creepy that Ben kisses her and it works. That he's like, I know what'll snap her out of it. I'll kiss her without her consent.
I'll kiss her.
And it works. And the movie's like, good job, Ben. That was your contribution. But anyway, I really like that scene.
No. They're like, I think the Ben character, it's true. It's all got that like kind of latent problematic aspect to it. But in the end, like there's a defense at least to they're all just becoming friends, and it's a confusing. Puberty is a confusing time, and
sorry, go ahead.
That's why it's hard to talk about some of this stuff because you're talking about all these teens and you're talking about sexuality. It's a hard conversation to have for a lot of people, I think, because it was so weird and kind of haunting for so many, and it's just a natural part of life,
right?
And it's tough to talk about these issues or explicitly show some of these issues, and without obviously misstepping or not, you know. Some people are always going to get like angry at that.
Never occurred to me in the tradition of great American literature, it kind of has a mice and men thing going on because of mice and men. And what I was thinking, as you said, that was just that, yes, King, good on King. Like one thing's for sure is he was flexing his empathy muscles when he wrote this, and he was doing part of a writer's job, which was try to imagine, like including, right? I mean, it almost is like, okay, there's one of each. I get it. But he was like, well, racism's a form of evil I want to investigate. The male gaze on a woman that they don't want. Being a big person, like being fat, and then ridiculed for that, gay. Like he was trying to stretch his mind to as many. And I just thought that was very interesting and reminds me of when I finally realized of Mice and Men does that, where there's one of each. Like you actually are brought on a tour of like someone being treated ableist, someone being treated badly because of their race, someone being treated badly because of their sex. And you're like, oh, that's secretly what it's about, is like kind of being woke and intersectionality. Like it is a treatise on, if nothing else, look around, appreciate the suffering that other people have that's unique to them. Cut them some slack. Don't be Henry Bowers.
And here's kind of
don't let fear make you an asshole.
How to kind of combat it.
Yeah.
How to like make everyone's life fill everyone with joy, become an ally. Yeah, totally. And I think that there's something to be said about all of these older tales, because I'm glad that you mentioned of Mice and Men, just because it was so long ago that the culture that he was speaking to is very different than the ones that we were, at least in terms of what you would say in quote unquote polite society. Right.
So, but we still disadvantage fat people and black people. And
he was trying to meet them in the middle, which is kind of how progress has happened in a lot of ways, because you create a culture, the next generation, it gets slightly better. We're, 2-3 decades away from, maybe even 4 decades from the book itself when he penned these things. It's of course going to have some, blind spots in terms of today's
like if
society.
he took today's cocaine, it's much more potent. I think he'd have some crazy shit to say. I want to rattle off some random shit because we'll never cover this movie again. It is one of my favorites, so much like with Coen Brothers. Sorry, but this might be a bit of a long episode.
It hit me.
The idea that his blood defies gravity is fucking awesome visual choice as a filmmaker, like film being a visual medium. I do care about the visuals, and that's sick. And then again, as we said, I think the Rock War, because it's not my truth, I don't lavish only praise on this movie. I think it's kind of uneven in a few key moments. The other one is, and a lot of them are the needle drops. I don't think A Cure song was the right choice for, now we're going to clean up the blood that represents my father's unwanted sexual aggression. Let's play a romantic Cure song. I don't know. Just that sequence felt like the Rock War sequence where they didn't know what tone they were going for, and they kind of flubbed the tone.
I agree.
But then on the other hand, XTC severely underused in film.
So you're just happy
people
for
should drop
representation.
XTC, and Dear God is the song in this. But Gold, hope you get my letter in. Yeah, we should be dropping XTC more. And then I guess the other thing is, and I could even leave this to comments people unless, Abe, you were fresh on the lore. I know a fair bit about it and Pennywise and the expanded Kingiverse, and I know that Skarsgård approached it as an animal. Like, he's like, Pennywise is more like a spider or an alien monster, It is just eating. It is just pumping you with fear. And then when you're ripe, it eats you. I didn't want to try to think, what is the, Heath Ledger, not that he was scared, but you know what I mean? I'm not trying to figure out why Pennywise feels that way or how he's justified. I'm comfortable just being like, he is an animal. I'm treating it as like an animal role.
Right.
So given that, I guess I just don't understand. And I wonder if anyone who knows the lore really well could sound off in the comments. Why take Bev and ensorcel her but not kill her, but take Georgie and kill him immediately, or like kill the bully immediately? Like, I just don't understand the inconsistency, and I guess the movie doesn't care and doesn't want me to try, of when it cocoons them like a spider and when it ensorcels them and when it goes like, fuck it, I'm just gonna eat this kid's arm right now, right here. I'm hungry.
Right, yeah.
Like, was that because it was too weak and it needed an appetizer to start manifesting? I don't know. But the last thing I'll say for it, just because it helps me enjoy the movie a lot, is the thing I do know about how it thinks or works. Because like a scene they cut is the guy using the asthma inhaler, his weakness used as a strength. And he goes, "It's battery slime, you dickhead," and the thing about its actual weakness is when it's hypnotizing you, it's linked to you in a two-way street. I think this is actually a really cool sci-fi offer. So its actual weakness is that it has to abide by the rules of the scene you're doing together. So the kids start doing things like, this is full of acid, and throwing shit at it, and it has to
feels
believe
the
it.
acid.
Right.
Yeah.
So while it fools you, it can be fooled, and that's its only weakness, which is actually a cool rule. And if you didn't know that from the book, if you watch the movie, that makes Pennywise feel more consistent in a way that's very satisfying. But I don't understand when Pennywise needs to eat and why, or what its like deal is. In that
just
regard.
as a response to the second thing you said, I love that him as like thinking of Pennywise as like an improv partner.
He's like, well,
he's a
yes and
guy. Yeah. Which is great. Why he's like a circus clown, because the circus clown, like going back to the lore, the idea is that a circus clown is something who represents innocence, but also is feared greatly. That's just our cultural
and
kind of
lore
vibe
wise,
with clowns.
the alien
But, like,
that it actually is sort of scanned around, sort of like the Transformers did, and decided just, clown is a good thing that will let me attract kids that they also fear, so I'll be that.
But like to make him an artist, to make it like a circus performer that he saw and he just inhabited now, is like the idea of like someone who's there to connect with people, and like be some kind of portal for them. To make that his weakness is fucking awesome, especially when
that
Bev
he's a
says
believer.
stuff.
That he hypnotizes you by also believing it is such a cool mechanic.
He is a monster that's just like entirely consistent, kind of like
internally consistent.
The Devourer or something like that. But yeah, that's awesome. As for why he's widely inconsistent in diet,
or like if you stab him in the head, he'll stop, but then he won't.
There may be a lore reason for this, but I just interpreted it as horror movies. Ghosts sometimes damage you and sometimes just go like spooky and bounce. So it's really doesn't need a rule in terms of like, I don't know if it's about his diet. I think he just loves to eat that and he'll get his fill somehow. But like the biting of the arm, that just pleases him and creates a bunch of fear.
So I guess
like
nutritionally,
it's not about diet or nutrition.
Does he actually eat flesh that's seasoned by fear? Or does he only need fear to live? Because at one point he says, I will eat your flesh and then I'll eat your fear. But I'm like, but what does he need to live? Both or just one?
I always thought because it's a concept and like it deals, the deadlights is also a concept.
It's
and it comes from
it's a link to another
cosmic
dimension. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is kind of almost Lovecraftian in terms of how King presents it. Look at the Dark Tower and such. Yeah. Or The Shining. It's this weird dimensional connectivity. I always thought of it as he's a fear monster. And that's my interpretation.
So he doesn't have to eat human flesh to digest it for calories to survive. Right.
And again, there might be someone who recently read the books and says, no, he specifically needs to.
A few crack style observations. They see Bev at the end after they've been all through this shit in the climax. One of them goes, how How is she floating in the air? Dude, you just saw a painting eat your friend's face. There's clearly magic involved. Like, let's catch up. I just thought that was funny. Beetlejuice should totally fight this dude in an epic rap battle if indeed that didn't already happen 10 years ago. It occurred to me that if you could summon Beetlejuice, now would be the time he'd take Pennywise to school in a very funny way. And then also... good thing that after Pennywise retreats, the dead kids that are all floating gently float down to the ground instead of plopping to the ground as decades-old corpses.
That would
just
be,
like plop, 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 plop. Yeah.
That should be how it goes.
Yeah.
Because I think that's he's not dead, he's just in remission. Like
as we
his
know,
power
because they
still
already
has
announced part 2's coming, right?
Oh, I mean, it did so well.
It's called Chapter 1.
Oh, no, it's just called It, dude. It's not called Chapter 1.
Well,
that's why it's weird.
It's one of those words that I didn't even know existed till fairly recently, but on IMDb or Wikipedia, it's like, and it was retronymically titled It. You know, like how Star Wars: A New Hope.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, can we just say that? And then it was changed so that history is now this. All right.
Well, what was the Edge of Tomorrow? Was like Live, Die, Repeat.
And then they changed
for a while.
that to the tagline and the title to Edge of Tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or vice versa, whatever.
Anything for the marketing to work, right? A to B testing, baby. You got anything else?
Only things that bear on the stand. So let's get out of the Barrens and get into this, into my car.
It's time to make your stand.
I live in a stand. By the way, never read The Stand or watched any version of The Stand. And I understand that's also one of his heavy-duty adult epic masterpieces. So very excited for that.
I think that's the one in terms of adult.
That's still out there that we haven't even broached yet.
Yeah.
That I'm excited about. But if I may go first, I'll just say what I think and then where it's slotted into my list. The Stand is where we rank this in the great pantheon of all film adaptations of King that we've covered so far. The two things I'll say. One, I do think it's funny that because you kind of know that there's a part 2 and it's part of the marketing. I mean, if you were reading the book, you'd know because you're only halfway through, you're still holding half a book in your hand. But it is funny to me that to wrap this movie up and make it feel succinct just in case you only saw one and you want it to feel complete, blah, 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 like we do. It's not just that not fearing it makes it possible to kill Pennywise. It's that it immediately falls to shit like a little bitch and like curls up and you wail on it and it sucks. And it's like, no, please. Oh, God.
I love that because that's
like
what bullies are.
Dude. I guess that is what bullies are.
Because that's what, like,
that is metaphor.
Honestly, the bully's dad
metaphor
is right.
Don't
He's
be
like,
scared of these men. They're nihilists.
You're a paper man.
You're a paper man. Yeah. Well, which is funny, of course, because everyone is. You're telling me, cop dad, I could shoot at your feet and you wouldn't react? Like, fuck are you talking about? Anyway.
Fear is how power navigates. Killer,
yeah.
You know?
But speaking of that, I think the dumbest thing in the whole movie, and I still think it's dumb, is that he says fear before he falls. I don't know if that's in the book. I don't know what it means. I don't know if he's saying all I wanted was fear, or now I won't get to eat my fear, or I'll be back and I'll be bringing fear, just you wait. Like, I don't know what it is. And
what is fear?
But all I know is it reminds me every time of, in a way I love, the ending of the Voyager episode that I now wonder if it was pitched as an It parody called The Thaw, where Michael McKean plays a hologram monster that feeds on fear. And at the end of that, he starts to slowly get deleted and it fades to black and he goes, drat. And it ruins the episode because he said
Jesus
drat.
Christ. You Dennis the Menace motherfucker.
All right. So anyway, I rank It Chapter 1 pretty high. It's pretty good.
Too.
I found myself thinking things like, is this really better than The Mist? So without further ado,
I
could start at number 1 and go down until I hit
Let's do it.
Yeah. Number 1, Shawshank Redeems.
Shining.
The Shawshine. Number 2 for me is Shining.
Shawshank.
Shang. So, okay. So our 1 and 2 is Shawshine.
Yep.
Number 3, Dr. Sleep.
Stand By Me.
Fun fact, Flanagan desperately wanted It Chapter 1 and lobbied hard and didn't get it. But
that's a shame.
But Stephen King was like, hey, you could do everything else. How about that? You'll do everything else I've ever done.
And I'm glad for that.
Yeah, I agree. I think this. I was glad
He
this
works
wasn't
better in
Flanagan.
smaller movies too.
Number 4.
I think this director's better at the bigger movie.
Stand By Me.
Number 4 is Misery. for me.
Number 5, Misery for me.
And so our top 5 have now completed. Number 5 is Dr. Sleep.
Oh, not violated. It didn't crack your ziggurat of perfection, but
No.
it's scratching at the basement door. My number 6, It, Chapter 1, 2017.
Wow, Over the Mist.
Over the
I
Mist,
see.
just a bit. I think, honestly, and it's not, of course, the Mist's fault. Bigger budget, more people involved, more hands on deck leads to more iconically disturbing visions that stuck with me.
Yeah, no, I also just love the It story.
I do too.
That's
a great story.
You know, like when we talk about
it is one of King's masterpieces. It's in the top 5 things he's ever done for sure. Yeah.
The Mist honestly is like above, like top of the barrel, but like it really is Frank Darabont.
Darabont elevated The Mist. The Mist is higher on the list than it should be based on its King story. Correct.
Yeah. So my 6 is The Mist. I also put one other film above this film.
So this is your
number
8.
7.
Okay.
I don't know why. Dolores Claiborne just speaks to me, brother.
Hey,
I just love that.
I
movie.
figured, she's in there and she's got her Misery slot already. I don't need the double
I know.
Bates.
It's just, well, here's the thing. The first time I watched Dolores Claiborne was for this podcast, and I was just
Very
blown
good.
away. I was like, so it might be higher
That's
than
how
it's
I feel
supposed to,
about
but
my
I'm
number
still-
9, Needful Things. I was like, that
Look,
had no right to be good.
Don't
that was
judge
good.
me for my Claiborne high, okay?
Well,
I'm
I
just
thought-
high on Claiborne.
Isn't your number 1 Michael Jackson's Ghosts? Isn't that canonical?
I got retcon, and or rather,
Retronym?
I don't know what you mean. I don't know.
Yeah,
what
I've never
you
heard of
mean.
that actually.
No, yeah, I put
great.
2017's It at number 8, above Carrie,
Nice.
above Gerald's Game.
Okay. Done.
I think that's it.
That's that.
Done.
So long, folks. I bet you can guess what we're covering next time. So look forward to that.